best known for its Kingsman and Wanted series. Look for movies on those series. And Armstrong Flooring, just not selling its wood floors like it used to. Now it's closing plants in Tennessee and Mississippi. Hundreds of people will lose their jobs. Tom Busby, CNBC.
Attention investors, protect your IRA or 401k by storing your retirement at home with an Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA. Call Augusta today at 888-852-4788 for a free guide on transferring a portion of your IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins and store them in your safe at home or at your local bank. Call 888-852-4788 today and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. Call 888-852-4788. That's 888-852-4788.
A Wendy's Frosty is something special. And for a limited time, a Frosty is just 50 cents. An American classic for a classic price. It's not quite a milkshake, not quite an ice cream cone. It's definitely chocolate or vanilla. That choice is on you. Use a spoon or a French fry. Anything goes. A Frosty makes summer special. Yep, there's nothing quite like a Frosty. And there's nothing quite like this deal. A Frosty for 50 cents. Get yours before this deal melts away.
Small Frosty only at participating Wendy's for a limited time. Offer not valid in Alaska and Hawaii.
NBC News Radio, I'm Richard Jordan. North Korean media says the latest sanctions imposed by the United Nations are a frontal attack and a violation of sovereignty. The sanctions target North Korean finances and exports in retaliation for continued missile and weapons tests. The North isn't stopping there with tough talk. It is singling out the U.S. as the instigator behind the sanctions, with media reports saying there is no bigger mistake than the United States believing that its land is safe across the ocean. Vice President Mike Pence says forget any talk that he's running for president. Pence yesterday denied any notion that he's setting up presidential campaigns. Press Secretary Mark Lauder.
You have something that appears on the front page of the Sunday New York Times that's based on conjecture, speculation, that's suggesting something that is not true. It's important that the vice president speak his mind and clear the record on that.
The former Indiana governor issued a statement in which he refuted the article and called it fake news. An all-out manhunt is underway for the man who shot and killed a Missouri police officer during a traffic stop last night. The Missouri Highway Patrol says Officer Gary Michael died after a shootout with driver Ian McCarthy in Clinton, about 75 miles southeast of Kansas City. McCarthy drove away after the gun battle, crashed the vehicle, and ran off. Meanwhile, the hunt for an escaped Ohio inmate is ramping up in Toledo. Federal agents joined sheriff's deputies in the search for suspected rapist Brandon Lee Powell, who's been on the run since Friday. Taylor Swift will be center stage in an unusual venue for the pop star. Swift is expected to take the stand in a civil suit. Jury selection began today in the case of a former Denver radio host who claims Swift got him fired from his job after she falsely accused him of putting his hand up her skirt while the two posed for a photo together in 2013. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
For several years, KCAA has been marketing the Youngevity brand of nutritional and personal care products. Our experience with Youngevity has been 100% positive, so we are pleased to recommend them to you. Regarding nutritional supplements, we recommend Pollen Burst in the berry flavor and Tangy Tangerine 2.0 in the tablet form. For regularity issues, we recommend 3-Day Cleanse, and for personal care, we recommend Morning Hydration Cream. You can shop online for Youngevity at www.kcaateam.com, or you can order by phone by calling 800-982-3197 and tell customer support that you are part of the KCAA team. Youngevity is an American company based in San Diego. Call Youngevity at 800-982-3197 and ask about monthly auto ship that allows you to buy Youngevity products at wholesale prices. That number again, 800-982-3197. KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station, where your business comes first.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Aladort, my mortgage man, at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early, purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Alladort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
The views of the following show are not necessarily the views of broadcast management or its owner, Fred Lundgren. But then again, the views of broadcast management are, well, different. And now it's time for On the Mark Live with host Mark Westwood. Finally, a show about KCAA. Hot topics, a little locomotion, current events, news, laugh, reviews, and a little irreverence. And you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 3, 2, 1, Mark.
And we're coming in for a landing here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's an amazing day here at KCAA. You know, well, you know, you plan a show and you get everything in order here, and then suddenly somebody doesn't show up or we can't get somebody on the line. But hopefully we do have Miss Shirley Harlan on the line very shortly.
I'm on.
Okay, great. Now, hold on just a second, Shirley. I'll be right with you. I'm glad we got Shirley on the line. Yes. We've got a lot to talk about today. And, you know, as usual, I take a little bit of time to talk about KCAA a little bit, but I'm going to put that off for a minute because we do have Shirley on the line. We're going to talk about the Barrage Mansion and some charity events going on there in Redlands a little later on. And then hopefully a lovely lady who I met last week through the Redlands Chamber of Commerce is going to show up, and we're going to talk about her product called LifeWave. But first of all, I am Mark Westwood, the host of On the Mark and Community Crossroads. And, you know, I've been hosting shows for over the years at KCAA, and, you know, sometimes they're just a breeze and they fall into place, and sometimes, surely, they are not. But I am so honored to have a repeat guest with me who's been here many, many times before, or at least a few times before. I think maybe 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 times. Shirley Harlan. Good afternoon, Shirley. How are you?
I'm fine. I've just finished singing with Encore at the Waterman Healthcare. We come once a month and sing an hour of songs to these people here.
Yeah,
so that's where I am. I'm still here, and you can hear some background music they've turned off that I can't turn off.
Shirley, you are an energy dynamo. I got to tell you, if there was ever, you know, whatever you have, if you could bottle that, that would be great. If you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, Shirley, do you mind if I share your age?
No, I'm 87, going to be 88 this year.
87 years old?
I think people who are aging ought to share their age.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you are a testimony to good living. Shirley, you were one of the first women police officers of the Redlands Police Department. Isn't that correct?
That's right. Nethel Mears was with the county. She was the first county women's police officer at the same time.
And you are all kinds of active still, live in San Bernardino, and still maintain your compound there that I call the, well, you used to be known as the Video Lady. For some people might know Shirley as the Video Lady. She had a business in town for years and years and years. They did video production. And you had a building.
Yeah, now Steve Chandler does the work at 882-1621.
But we're not plugging anything at 882-1621. No, but you used to have this building, which was virtually right in front of your garage, and that was you know, something that you know, you maintained a full, what we call analog video production studio, complete with you know, a studio you could go into, do interviews, and create a production in. But then the age of analog seems to have faded into the past for most people, and now it's all digital and things are much smaller. So, you know, you've pared down, and now you're using that space up there in North San Bernardino to do community activities and events, correct?
Yeah, well, I have some friends from the probation department, and we show 16-millimeter films the old way from back in the 40s and 50s there once every other week.
So I could assume that this is a probation department and former police officer. It's a pretty safe place to go see a community movie. That's kind of cool. And I've been there, and I'm up there. It's kind of neat. She's got a big giant screen, and she shows movies up there. But more importantly, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, let me sing a little song to enter into what I'm doing now.
Oh, are you going to sing that song, Too Work?
I'm going to sing Too Old to Work, Too Old to Work, Too Old to Work, and Too Old to Die. Who would take care of you? How to get by when you're too old to work and you're too old to die. That's a song by
Keep going.
Yeah, and what we're going to do, we're going to celebrate Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid on August 19th at the Women's Club in San Bernardino. And we're going to do it in a unique way. We're going to kind of form a human cake, maybe with holding up cupcakes, and around will be safe lighted candles. So I hope that people will come there at 9:30 and join us in this kind of flash mob singing happy birthday to Social Security. That Social Security is going to be 82 years old, and Medicare and Medicaid are 52 years old. So it's a good time to celebrate how it helps us all.
Absolutely. And you were around before there was a Medicare and a Social Security, so you know what it was like not to have that, and how, dire straits some of our older senior citizens at that time were in, because they needed to be taken care of, and they were too old to work and too young to die, as you said. Saturday, August 19th, 9:30 a.m. at the Women's Club of San Bernardino, which is 503, and I'll say this address a couple of times, 503 West 31st Street in San Bernardino, 503 West 31st Street in San Bernardino, and that's just coming up in August 19th.
That's right, pretty soon, just a few more days, so I hope that people will put it on their calendar and join us. I hope we get about 100 people there.
That would be great, and it makes such an awesome statement. That first of all, we have Medicare that's 52 years old, and Social Security, which is 82 years old. Such establishments, and I believe it was President Eisenhower said once that anyone who challenged Social Security probably will not live for another election cycle. Yeah, but somehow or the other, they are doing that, and so people like the California Alliance for Retired Americans have gotten together, and they've come up with this concept. And you're the local person and local contact in this area, right?
Yes, I am. You can give my number and email out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let's do that. We'll give your number out. Should we give your home phone number out?
That's fine.
And that is 882-4057. That's 882-4057, or VLDY at AOL.com. VLDY at AOL.com. We'll give that out in just a little bit. We're talking right now with Shirley Harlan, a good friend, a local community activist, and a member of the California Alliance for Retired Americans, and she's an advocate for seniors and people with disabilities and working families, and they're celebrating America's most popular programs, which are Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, which are all coming up with birthdays. Last month it was Medicaid, I believe.
Well, they're doing it all through July and August across California. California Partnerships is also helping me to for this birthday, as well as CARA, California Alliance of Retired Americans.
Yeah, and they're hoping to get dozens and dozens of seniors and their friends. You can be any age and go there. You don't have to be, you don't have to be a senior citizen. You can be a younger junior citizen.
Actually, Social Security, the money in the trust fund, there are more children that get money from that trust fund through Medicare and Medicaid than seniors at this point.
And there's a lot of people that will argue, and I've heard this argument before, and this is fake news and false information, that Social Security is going bankrupt. And it's just not so. I've done some research on it and found out that, if you could produce your budget, your household budget, or even a government budget for the next 30 years, you would be doing very, very well. But that's exactly what the nonpartisan government agency of accounting has done, the GAO, and they said Social Security is at least solvent by 1 to 2%, one way or the other, by 1% or 2%, one way or the other, through the next 30 years. And it is a trillions and trillions of dollars super fund, a super fund that, some politicians I think would like to get a hold of and, funnel out to their own private interests or personal agenda. And we just can't let that happen. And one of the ways we do that is to make sure that people know about Social Security, know about Medicaid, Medicare. These are benefits that are directly received from our tax money. They are not entitlements, ladies and gentlemen. They are not entitlements. We've all paid for them. Social Security, we own that. That's our money. That's come out of our working when we work, hours, or Brandon's over there right now working, and we take a little pittance out, but just a little bit out of his paycheck.
It's a little over 12%.
Right.
That half of it the worker pays and half of it your employer pays.
Absolutely.
When you want to talk realistically about this, what's happening is there are more of us older people living than there, and we didn't expect to live as long as we're living now. This is the first time that people 85 to 100 are in their hundreds that are being studied as to our living so long.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't have as many workers as we did before.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, with any program as expansive as this, and which is the most successful program of all countries in the whole world, one of the things that we need to consider is raising the cap.
I was just going to say that. You beat me to it. Yes.
Go ahead, say it.
Well, raising the cap. And what do we mean by raising the cap? For instance, I have a friend who's well-to-do, and he makes a lot of money. And about March or April of every year, believe it or not, he pays off his Social Security. In other words, Social Security is taken out. Yeah, his Social Security is taken out of his paycheck on a monthly or weekly basis, and he pays into it, and according to the amount of money he makes. And when he gets to $237,000 a year, and he's paid off for that much money, they no longer take any Social Security from his paycheck. Well, some people might say that's great, but except for the fact that there's a lot of people now making that kind of money, and they cap off at May or June or July, a lot of people, and they no longer pay into the program. That's one problem. So if they raise that cap, and the people who are making that kind of money really wouldn't feel that very much, they'd raise that cap, then they'd be paying into Social Security. It's not raising taxes because this isn't an entitlement. This is something. It's a fund you pay into. And then allegedly and hopefully we all will get it back. And so far that has not failed even one little bit. And so raising the cap does that. Also, the fact of the matter is that, there's some misnomers and rumors put out like, oh, not as many people are paying into Social Security and more people are drawing off. That is totally not true because, number one, people are working longer. By election, sometimes they're working longer. Sometimes, like I know a police officer, no offense, Shirley, who's retired. He retired very early. He started very early. He's making good money. He's making a good pension. He got bored, and he's gone back to work again. So once again, he's paying into Social Security, although he's still drawing some benefits, being careful not to pay too much. But yeah.
Yeah, let me say, Mark, that Social Security was never meant to be all that you retired on it.
Right.
If you look at a stool, it was supposed to be one leg of a stool. There was supposed to be Social Security, pensions, and then your savings. Well, when you look at the reality today, pensions are practically gone in terms of the broader population.
But if you're a government worker, no, they're not
and people
gone.
are having a hard time saving as well. So,
and
but it's
I
still
want to
very
interject something
important.
here. If you're a government worker, if you work for a politician, if you work for a post office, if you're one of those teachers, firefighters, police, nurses, you work behind the counter at City Hall, you've got a pension, and you're paying into it, but you're going to be able to collect it, and you've got a pension. You also have free medical care and free health care, and you have all these benefits that other people don't have, and they don't calculate into the cost of all that stuff. Teachers, for instance, don't pay into Social Security. They pay into another fund. I believe it's called PERS, CalPERS. And so, they don't pay into that. They don't draw Social Security. But
yeah, well, Mark, a few years ago, if you remember, employees could vote whether to stay in Social Security if they worked in a government position or not. And, for example, the county pulled out of paying Social Security, but it was prefigured in the pension plan. But the important thing to consider is if we did not have Social Security, we would have a lot more people in poverty. And
Absolutely.
that would be a much difficult thing for a country as us to handle. It's very important.
The point I was making, Shirley, and I was getting to was the fact that there are a lot of people who have a lot of haves, and there's more have-nots than haves, but there is a lot of haves. And those people have great salaries, great pension funds, and great benefits, and they're all paid for. And oftentimes, they feel like that if other people get it, they're not going to be able to continue to get it. So they oftentimes become Republican and decide not to fight the system. But once again, I want to underscore this because as we're talking about Social Security, and people have heard this barrage, this onslaught of information that's not true. Social Security is not bankrupt. It is not going bankrupt. Once again, it will be good for the next 30 years, according to the Government Agency Office of Accounting, GAO, who is not allowed to be partisan, who's not allowed to be political, who must just report the facts. It's not fake news. And they say between 1% or 2% plus or minus in the next 30 years, it will be solvent. Not bankrupt even, just solvent. And, who can tell that in a budget? You can't.
Well,
it's very, very difficult.
Every program as large as this one needs to have our Congress take a look at it regularly and see what needs to be done to manage it so that it continues. And we need people getting together to do this.
Right.
So would you be able to tell them again when we're going to celebrate the birthday
of Social
Security, Medicare, and Medicaid?
Absolutely. And, that's why I was going to say it's been around for 82 years and continues to work. You tweak something a little bit, you adjust it a little bit, you nuance it a little bit, but you don't get rid of it. So, once again, we're talking about Saturday, August 19th at 9:30 a.m. at the Women's Club of San Bernardino. That's 503 West 31st Street in San Bernardino. August 19th, 9:30 a.m., 503 West 31st Street in San Bernardino. And if you have any more questions, just write this number down, 882-4057. That's 882-4057. Or email vldy@aol.com. Shirley, doesn't mind getting these phone calls or emails. And if you can't remember that and you're driving down the road right now, just remember KCAAradio.com or just KCAA Radio. And you can give us a call. I'll keep this information on file in the control room. And if somebody asks you about this information, we'll definitely give it. Shirley is with the California Alliance for Retired Americans. She's a resident of San Bernardino, very active in the local community. Do I have you for just a few more minutes, Shirley?
Yes, I'm walking out of Waterman right now because I'm borrowing somebody else's phone to do this, and we're walking out right now. So, yes, I'm here for a few minutes. Don't forget about California Partnership. They're also helping me with
Cara.
too.
Yeah, the action team in San Bernardino area, California Partnership. And, she's along with dozens of seniors getting together and joining with activists and other supporters of the Women's Club of San Bernardino to celebrate the 52nd anniversary of Medicare and Medicaid and the 82nd anniversary of Social Security. It'll be unique. It'll be fun. It'll be action-packed. I guarantee you there will be music. There'll be a formation of a human cake. Tell us about that. What is this human cake you're talking about?
Oh, I've seen it in my head every night I go to sleep. I've got over 100 cupcakes ordered, and if we hold them up together in one area, and then all around that area, people hold a candle, it'll look like a human cake. And there'll be a little real one too, so it'll show us the happy birthday.
And you plan to celebrate with a giant birthday cake for Congressman Pete Aguilar, I hear.
Yeah, he's going to be there. Eloise Reyes is going to be there. And there'll be other people there, but the more important people are you and I and all of us.
So I'm envisioning this in my head, and everybody's standing around in a circle with a cupcake in their hand. And at the very end, after it's all over, you're going to have a cupcake in your hand, right?
Yes.
And do we get to eat these cupcakes?
Oh, yes, they can keep the candle and they can eat the cupcake.
All right.
After we sing the birthday.
Well, this is all in an effort to amplify the efforts across the country. It's going to be a nationwide thing, not just here in San Bernardino. The efforts across the country demanding that our congressional representatives hear the plea of their constituents who depend on these Social Security insurance programs, not for just a complete and total benefit program, but for a partial program, and want Washington to stop the continued efforts to cut and privatize them. Inviting everybody, young and old, workers and retirees, anyone who has an interest. If you've got a mom or dad or a loved one, someone you know or love that's on Social Security, disability, who benefits from this program, who if you're paying into this program like I have for 54 years or almost, you want it to be around. You want it to not be dissolved in favor of investing it in some private trust fund someplace that may go bankrupt and then the government has to bail them out. And stop borrowing from the Social Security Trust Fund too, right?
Well, okay, that's correct. Yeah, that money was borrowed and spent on war, but it's never been paid back. Yeah.
And that's not why I pay into Social Security, is to have a war funded, that's for sure, and I want it paid back. So not only the message of, let's just keep it. Sometimes they keep us so busy arguing for what we already have or what we could possibly lose, but we forget to argue for things like, I'll use a prime example. We have a healthcare system kind of in this country. It's in a health insurance program, and we're arguing so much to keep it right now that we're not really arguing to improve it. And then when you think about it, another big problem in this country is dental and your oral health care. Very, very important. A lot of people are walking around with, diseased gums and problems created and, broken teeth or no teeth.
Mark,
yes.
I have to leave the Waterman healthcare place and give the phone back to one of my singers.
Oh, okay.
So
well,
I'm gonna have to say goodbye to everybody and hope to see them.
Can
on
you?
August
Can
19th.
you? Is it possible to sing one verse of the song real quick?
Too old to work. Too old to work when you're too old to work and you're too young to die. Who will take care of you? How to get by when you're too old to work
and you're too young
old to die.
Hey, Shirley Harlan, everybody's applauding out in Radio Land for you here. 87-year-old Shirley Harlan, just a dynamo. We always are so honored and pleasure to have you on. Thanks for coming on, Shirley.
Thank you, Mark.
That was Shirley Harlan singing for us there, and she's organizing this event all by herself through the California Alliance of Retired Americans. She's the local chapter all by herself almost. But Saturday, August 19th, 9:30 a.m., you guarantee she's going to have a bunch of people there, and she'll have a congresswoman there and a congressman there and a few people of the state legislature, from what I understand. And they will show up at the California Alliance for Retired Americans, California Partnership, and other community groups for the birthday celebration for Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, and I guess also for Congressman Pete Aguilar. Once again, it's Saturday, August 19th, 2017, at 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. You're going to get a free cupcake. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Always good cupcakes, I imagine. And it's at the Women's Club of San Bernardino. Once again, 503 West 31st Street in San Bernardino. That's 503 West 31st Street in San Bernardino. If you've missed all that, you can just, go back onto our website at kcaaradio.com, and you can see this interview right after I'm done. It will post in a podcast. It's like a radio DVR. You can listen to this program. You can take it. You can post it on other websites. You can also see the Ustream if you want to see me. And I'm in the studio alone today, unfortunately. I was waiting for my other guest to show up. Hopefully she will show up. And we're going to take a little break in a moment here, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to talk about the Barrage Mansion. And we're also going to talk about some really neat programs going on here in Redlands, and also with a lady who has a unique offering that we'll be talking about. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. I'm Mark Westwood for On the Mark.
You've been listening to On the Mark Live with Mark Westwood, a show about KCAA, the world, and you, with more to come in a moment.
At California's #1 volume GM dealer, Mark Christopher Auto Center, they're cranking up the heat because summer has begun to heat up and the deals have never been hotter. Right now, you can choose from over 1,600 vehicles in their one giant location with down to 0% for 72 months on selected models. It's California's biggest and best selection, and it's never undersold. Chevys, Buicks, Cadillacs, and GMC trucks. You'll find Mark Christopher Auto Center right on the 10 freeway in Ontario, or you can go to markchristopher.com. Mark Christopher is California's #1 volume GM dealer. Family owned and doing things right since 1975. Remember, they're cranking up the heat on summer deals at Mark Christopher Auto Center. Vineyard exit of Interstate 10 in Ontario.
KCAA Radio is proud to announce that the Tri-City Center in Redlands is our new home. We're fortunate to be located among some of the best businesses in the region. Among our neighbors are Ray Chiropractic, Brace Connection Orthodontist, Pain Solutions Medical Massage, Rent-A-Center, MVP Staffing Agency, Jenny Craig, Salon Centric, and many more. The Tri-City Shopping Center is located just off the I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. The Tri-City Center is the mall with the heart.
I'm Matt Rock with the all-new Matt Rock Show, starting Mondays at 8 p.m. Many people are looking to be healthier, happier, and closer to their life goals this new year. Join my friends and me as we share how you can develop a positive, energetic, and prosperous lifestyle as you pursue your dreams and goals passionately. Tune into the newest and most dynamic talk show on the air, The Matt Rock Show, every Monday at 8 p.m. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
The self-described geniuses of Wall Street are being stupid again. In 2007, their stupid schemes and frauds crashed our economy, destroying middle-class jobs, wealth, and opportunities. Far from being punished, however, the scofflaws were bailed out by their Washington enablers. So the moral lesson they learned was clear. Stupid pays. Go stupid. Sure enough, here they come again. Rather than investing America's capital in real businesses to generate grassroots jobs and shared prosperity, Wall Street is siphoning billions of investment dollars into speculative nonsense, such as bundles of high-risk subprime auto loans. It works like this. Car dealers, eager to goose up sales, hawk new vehicles to lower-income people, offering quick loan approval even to those with poor credit ratings. Banks, eager to hook more people on monthly car payments, okay these subprime car loans without verifying the buyer's ability to pay. Then, a Wall Street bank's investment house buys up thousands of these iffy individual loans, bundles them into multi-million-dollar debt securities, and sells them to wealthy global speculators. Last year alone, banks sold $26 billion worth of these explosive bundles of car loans. This is a gaseous repeat of Wall Street's subprime mortgage bubble that burst a decade ago. The scam generates easy money at the start for speculators and banksters, but as more and more low-income buyers are unable to make their car payments, defaults build up and the whole financial bubble pops. This is Jim Hightower saying, wasting America's much-needed investment capital on a scheme that intentionally puts people in cars they can't afford with loans they can't repay is not only stupid, but immoral, and it's killing our economy. Why are we letting elite Wall Street loan sharks do this to us?
If you're trying to prevent home foreclosure, you need a law firm with extensive experience representing clients in protecting their homes from foreclosure. The Goodman Law Firm is a nationwide team of mortgage mitigation attorneys that provides legal advice and expertise you can trust. Our nationwide network includes local of-counsel foreclosure attorneys to represent you during the mortgage mitigation process. The Goodman firm has represented homeowners across the nation in resolving their troubled mortgages. We have the experience and the knowledge you can count on to best represent your interests. The banks have attorneys fighting to protect their interests, and so should you. Call the Goodman Law Firm at 888-800-6030. Take control of your mortgage situation today. Contact us at 888-800-6030 or through our website at arnoldgoodmanlaw.com.
Wishing for a little bit more information? You'll get it all here on KCAA Radio.
And now it's time to batten down the hatches, because here comes more of Mark Westwood and On the Mark Live. 3, 2, 1, Mark.
More than you've ever wanted. Mark Westwood on a Monday. Good afternoon to you. You know, it's a pretty nice day outside in the middle of the midday here. Not too hot, not too cold, and thank the Creator above that it's not too humid. We had a pretty humid season this last few weeks, and I'm so glad about that. And I say that from the standpoint of our brand new air-conditioned studios here in Redlands. KCAA has moved from the mall in San Bernardino that's no longer, and where we didn't have air conditioning for a while. Well, we had air conditioning, but it wasn't very good. And now we're into this nice new building over here in Redlands at the Tri-City Center, a nice shopping mall full of retail merchants and vibrant, and it's so nice to hop out the door and get a bite to eat if you want, or you need to do some shopping, or you need tape or paper or whatever. You're just right here among it all, and it's nice to do that. Redlands has got so much going on, and speaking of stuff going on, so does KCAA. You know, if you're not familiar with KCAA and you're just traveling down the road, we have KCAAradio.com, KCAAradio.com. And KCAA stands for Keeping California Alert and Aware. That's something that most people don't know, but that's what it stands for. Keeping California Alert and Aware, KCAAradio.com, KCAA. As we have our letters that say that, I have to slow down when I say that. It's a difficult group of letters to enunciate properly, so we have to tell everybody to say it nice and slowly. But while you're thinking about that nice and slowly, we have some new things happening. We did some changing up over the weekend, and it started with the weekend. First of all, our overnights have changed greatly. Gone is Joan Messina, and unfortunately gone is Joyce Riley, who passed away. And we now have a new program. It's an upbeat show with 3 people, overnights. Very lively, talks about anything from cookie recipes to current events to shows. It's just an interesting kind of topical radio show. And it's called On Air Today with Doug, Jen, and Victoria. And Doug, Jen, and Victoria starts at 1 a.m., and we extended because the show is so popular and so well regarded. We had Midnight in the Desert, which went from 9 to midnight. Now we've extended it to 1 a.m., so successful, and all they had to do was buy us donuts. Not really, but they did do that. They showed some very nice class and appreciation, and sent us a luncheon with some donuts and sandwiches and quiches and all that kind of stuff. And we thank them, and also the wonderful people at Yum Yum Donuts in Redlands, over there on Redlands Boulevard, and I believe 6th Street, Redlands and 6th Street, right off there in the corner, just before you get to Starbucks. And it is a great little place. Very nice people. Brought us a wonderful luncheon last week, and we want to thank them. And we want to thank Heather Wade and Art Bell, who are the hosts and producers and creators of Midnight in the Desert, and that great radio program that it's riveting. Let me tell you, if you start listening to that show, you're going to pick up a bad habit. No. You're going to pick up a good habit, actually. It is a wonderful show to listen to, very riveting. And then, if you just want to be up all night and not get any sleep ever again the rest of your life, or if you're a night owl for whatever reason, or you work overnight, tune in to Doug, Jan, and Victoria right here at 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM. You got 3 ways to do it, or you can listen on KCAAradio.com. And there's also a number that you can dial. And Brandon, you're going to have to help me out with it because I don't have it memorized, and I can't see that far because I'm getting old and I don't have my glasses on. Tell us the call-in line to listen on your smartphone.
The call-in line is 701-801-4444.
Okay, say it one more time.
701-801-4444.
701-801
4444.
4444. That's not too hard to remember that. Just 4 4s.
Yep.
4 4s, 4 4s, 4 4 4 4. 701-801-4444. And dial it, and you can listen anywhere on your smartphone. And just have fun with it. Of course, local rates and charges do apply to that. If you have a data-free plan or, one-size-fits-all calling plan, that's not a problem at all. You can listen anywhere you want. Excuse me while I clear my throat. And I am back. Don't think you wanted to listen to that over the air. But we've got all kinds of great things happening. And one of the things that we've done, a very popular call-in show that just kind of came out of nowhere on us, but we're really happy. This guy does a fantastic, phenomenal job on a listener call-in music radio show at night. And he's on Friday nights and then also on Sundays a little bit. And now he's on Sundays from 1 a.m. until 3 a.m. It's the Angel Baby Radio Show. And it's just all kinds of fun. Local people calling in, making dedications, sending shout-outs, requesting their favorite oldies, and just having a great time. Of course, our daytime lineup stays the same with Diane Imus and Ray Lucia and Stephanie Miller we've got a big lineup. Of course, very popular Dr. Bob Marshall, Mitch and Kathy, and of our local shows like Let's Go Shopping with Bev, or What's It All About with Dr. Donald Jolly, our Smart Health Talk with Elaine, and of course, one of our latest and greatest new additions with a man named Sal Tazzolino is at 5 o'clock every day. It's called The Sports Circus. Comes to us live from Las Vegas, and he's building a big network. It's getting bigger every day. KCAA has heard they take our feed for their flagship station for Sports Circus, and it's played in Honolulu, it's played in Tampa, Florida, it's played in New York, all over the nation. So just think about that, Brandon, when you're working that board over there. They're hearing you all over the nation. So that's very, very good. You can now say that you are a board engineer for a nationally syndicated radio show. Congratulations, Brandon.
Woohoo!
That's a great thing for your resume, though. And, of course, we've got all kinds of new shows that we've added, car show stuff, an antiques show. And we're just doing our new fall lineup a little early. Some people wait till about September. We're doing it right now, and it's paying off. Lots of great things. Also, the addition of a great new show called 70s Deja Vu with Pat Matthews. 70s Deja Vu. And if you can tune into that, and it just takes you back. All these great songs. The other day I was listening to a song by a group called Bad Fingers called Come and Get It. Come and get your love. You probably never heard that, Brandon. It's a great song. The first time you hear it, you fall in love with it, just like your parents did. Your mom and dad probably danced that all the time. So that's a good thing. And all kinds of local programming. And you just don't miss out on 70s Deja Vu. It is on Saturday nights, 9 p.m. to midnight, every Saturday night, 9 p.m. to midnight. And then an old-time radio show overnights on, let me see, I think that is Sundays. Or no, Friday nights. Maybe it's Friday nights. Friday night, Saturday morning, called Seems Like Old Times. Seems Like Old Times. I lost it, but it's on here, and it's also on, podcast. Seems Like Old Times starts at 1 a.m. 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. So if you're one of those night owls, by all means, do that. As we continue on here, we've got lots of things going on. Also coming up as in the holiday season, wow, we have got the Barraz Mansion, and they've got all kinds of things scheduled at the Barraz Mansion, and I'm going to tell you all about this place. It is a pretty spectacular place here in Redlands. If you've ever gone across Highland Avenue, and as you just get to almost the end of Highland Avenue, is this Spanish Barrasque mansion with beautiful grounds. It's a big place, and you look at it and you go, what rich person lives there? Well, it was started by mineral people. And it is a very, very cool place. It's been there since the late 1890s. And it's just an incredible place to tour and vision and look at and know that this is the beginning of Redlands. It was the Redlands Mansion, known as Monte Vista, and was designated and designed by architect Charles Brigham, who also designed the Barraz residence in Boston and Boston Museum of Fine Arts. It is a very cool mansion, a very cool place, something to go see. One of those places that, like, if you take a vacation at home, you can do that. You can also attend one of the local charity events, and there is a Mansion Memories fundraiser by a group called mansionmemories.org. It's a support group for the Barrage Mansion, and it's also being offered by the Redlands Chamber of Commerce. And you can get your calendars out and mark it down. We're going to have it on our KCAA website, too. It's Saturday, December 9th, 2017. Saturday, December 9th, 2017. It's the Barrage Mansion Holiday Tour. And let me tell you, it will take a tour. There'll be dinner offered. There'll be tickets and auctions and all kinds of stuff. It's $25 per person, sponsored by the mansionmemories.org, mansionmemories.org. You can get on it right now. You can call the Redlands Chamber of Commerce. If you have a business, they're going to produce a program also. You can be a sponsor, and you can have your name in the program. It's going to be attended by everybody who's anybody and everybody who wants to be somebody here in Redlands, and it's a very, very, very good thing. Hey, we're going to be back in about 15 seconds here, maybe about another minute or so. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come talk about a pretty interesting product, a patch, and how you can make your life better right after this on KCAA Radio, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and 102.3 FM.
You've been listening to On the Mark Live with Mark Westwood, a show about KCAA, the world, and you, with more to come in a moment.
Hi, everybody. Ray Lucia here with some important information about debt, your debt. Whether you have a first or second mortgage, you're looking to buy or refi a home or rental property, or just need to consolidate your credit cards to lower your payments and save some serious interest, you need to do some loan financial planning with Steve Alidort, my mortgage man, at loanfinancialplanner.com. Now, Steve's not your garden variety mortgage broker. He actually spends time evaluating how you can use the current super competitive interest rates to pay off your mortgage early. Purchase a rental property, improve your cash flow, upgrade to your dream home, or even help your kids or grandkids get into a house. That's what loan financial planning is all about. Steve's been helping me and my listeners for over 2 decades, and I can tell you he is the best finance guy in the business. Go to loanfinancialplanner.com. That's loanfinancialplanner.com.
Or call Steve Alidort at 888-563-1070. That's 888-563-1070.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered and hear the latest breakthrough information for you and your family. Our product line, Quantum Nutrition Labs, delivers what others only promise, nutrition that really works.
Are you searching for a full-spectrum botanical formula made from premier quality garlic extract? You found it in Quantum Nutrition Lab's Quantum Garlic Complex, and it's on special. It features bear garlic and boasts high concentrated amounts of the unique nutrient allicin to deliver you exquisitely thorough immune and cardiovascular support. For a limited time, buy 2 bottles of Quantum Garlic Complex and get the 3rd one free. Call 800-370-3447. That's 800-370-3447. Or visit online at qnlabs.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Marissa, and I'd like you to get balanced with me on a show that has no gossip. It's a show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip, no scandal, and no K-words. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. And you're listening to KCAA Radio, AM 1050, FM 102.3, FM 106.5, and streaming on KCAAradio.com.
KCAA is your CNBC News affiliate. We're the station that gets down to business.
KCAA. And now it's time to batten down the hatches, because here comes more of Mark Westwood and On the Mark Live. 3, 2, 1, Mark.
And more of Mark Westwood, and now of Joe Lyons. Hello, Joe.
Hello. It was convenient. I was walking out the door, and our studios now are the last thing you hit before the door.
Yeah, so. Just this is a temporary setup right now before we get while we're transferring over. We have our studios kind of in our reception area right now. The talk studio is.
And the reception area is over in the studio.
Right, yeah. And then eventually it'll move back into where our permanent talk studios will be. We're going to have a couple of them, actually, and the control room, the permanent control room for KCAA. Right now, KCAA is actually using our sister associates studio, KQLH, right now.
It's a beautiful facility anyhow.
Anyway, it works well.
Yes.
But Joe was walking through, and my guest didn't show up from LifeWave. I don't know what happened. She
I
must
feel
have
like
forgotten.
the second girl that got asked to the prom.
Yeah, well, get over it. You were. Yeah. But that's okay. Joe just works here, and so do I. But before we go into...
Only when he's looking.
Yeah. Only when I'm looking.
Yeah.
I give you a new office, and now you can sequester yourself
Yes.
over there. Before, Joe didn't have an office. Now he does.
Anybody that's got works of art that they think should be hung on my wall. I've got walls now. I've got a door now.
I've made a lot of people happy with this move over here. Air conditioning, doors, offices. Huh, Brandon? It's kind of funny to see the joy and delight on everybody's face. Yeah.
It's definitely an upgrade.
Yeah, definitely. And it's an improvement. And just walls are just an improvement, no
Yeah.
less. But, Joe has a wet bar and a couch and no.
That's true.
No. But before we
the
go
beer
on.
on tap is a nice touch.
Shh, don't tell Fred
I'm
that.
sorry.
Anyway, before we go on talking about what we're going to talk about next, the Redlands Bowl, Redlands Summer Music Festival. Have you ever gone to it, Joe?
Yes, I have. It is one of the great secret celebrations of the Inland Empire.
Well, it's a secret except to the 2,500 people or so that attend.
That's true, but a lot of people, especially the West End, I've spent years in Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga. They haven't a clue as to what's going on here.
Oh, and when you take that to them, or even like over in San Bernardino, Redlands Junior University, it's the same way. This outdoor amphitheater with 1,800 seats, and it's full up, and there's a great production every night for like 2.5
concerts,
weeks.
Broadway musicals, Shakespeare. Geez, it's amazing.
Well, this is more than 30 years old, and the next thing they're going to have is Tuesday, August 8th, which is tomorrow at 8 p.m. It is absolutely totally free, and it is the best little outdoor amphitheater bowl festival this side of the Hollywood Bowl, I think. You can bring your blankets, you can bring your wine, you may be a little beer, you can't be really intoxicated, but I got to tell you, they put on a nice event, and it's sponsored by the Loma Linda University Health Program, and they proudly sponsor this as the Harmony of Wellness, an evening of celebration of the connection between music and health. And this is called Riders in the Sky.
Oh.
Yes, Riders in the Sky.
No, it's Ghost Riders in the Sky.
Ghost Riders in the Sky.
I have
Not
the
the
Gene
same
Autry
thing,
version.
okay.
I have Gene Autry and I have Dwayne Eddy's version in my iPod.
This concerns Gene Autry and the Pioneers and Roy Rogers and the reviving and revitalization of the cowboy music genre. And this is what it's going to be about. People don't know what we mean when we say spaghetti western. Do you know what that term is?
Yeah, Clint Eastwood, Sergio Leone, Ennio Morricone. Love it. They use an Ennio Morricone movie music for a beer commercial now. It's really...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, tell people what your definition of spaghetti western is.
Spaghetti western is a collection of cowboy movies made in Italy. Sergio Leone was a great Italian director. There are parts of Spain that look a lot like the Old West, and other classic American cowboy films like The Magnificent Seven and some of the John Wayne films were actually shot there because it's cheaper in the long run. And 3 movies in particular, Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood were the definitive spaghetti westerns. There were others, but those are the 3 that everybody thinks of.
And I wonder why they call them spaghetti westerns.
Because they're made in Italy.
They're made in Italy, I
Could
guess.
have been lasagna westerns. It's just,
Rigatoni westerns.
Yeah, precisely.
Pizza. But no, pizza is not Italian.
Not really.
Not really.
No.
But no, there's no such thing as a pizza western. Anyway, these are classic songs from those classic movies that you could watch on Saturday afternoons, either at the theater or later in the 70s and 80s on Channel 5 TV.
My brother is a professor of music at University of Texas in El Paso, and his thesis, he wrote a book, a thesis that became a book, on the music of Ennio Morricone. Specifically the spaghetti westerns. He's done other things since then. He did The Untouchables. He did several American movies. Just recently finally got an Oscar for his work, which was more of a lifetime achievement award. But
well, at the Redlands Bowl this Tuesday, August 8th, 8 p.m. Look it up at redlandsbowl.org. Pretty easy to remember, redlandsbowl.org. This is a classic cowboy quartet called Riders in the Sky. It's led them to 2 Grammy Awards. If you're a cowboy, it'd be Grammy. No,
it could be.
Get a little dirt in your
Get
mouth
along,
there.
little doggy.
Get along, little doggy.
Yeah, how about that long? Cowboy music is, you're right, it's coming back, but it had been forgotten. They used to call it country and western, and then everybody said, no, it's not country, it's modern country.
This is a pretty good group, Riders in the Sky.
Pure western.
They've done over 6,100 concert appearances in all 50 states and in 10 different countries, including venues like the Hollywood Bowl, the Grand Ole Opry, and at the White House.
Oh.
Yeah. Obama liked those cowboy spaghetti westerns.
I think they opened for...
Ronald Reagan must have loved them.
Oh yeah, the cowboy? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. The animated characters, history, their historical, links to the Riders in the Sky is a lovable cowboy Woody, as riders perform Woody's Roundup and the Toy Story 2. Stuff like that they're going to be doing. So it's entertaining not just for old fogies that know what a spaghetti western might happen to be, but also bring the young kids because they're going to have Woody there and things like that.
Kids today are more hip than we give them credit for. They go out to the garage and they find their parents' old box of vinyl records, and they come back in and say, wow, that Sgt. Pepper, that Marvin Gaye, those guys were great. How come we don't have that anymore? And people like me say, I ask the same question.
Well, this is a singing quartet. They're all adorned in cowboy regalia, complete with furry chaps. The one guy and
silk scarves,
red and white and blue cowboy outfits with the surrey and the fringe and the white 10-gallon hats and handlebar mustaches and cowboy boots. And
they look like a backup band for Roy Rogers.
They do. They do. It looks like Roy Rogers, addressed them. But anyway, one of the most historically significant acts in American history of music, according to Billboard magazine. There's no admission charge for this. No reservation or tickets are needed. And seating is first come, first serve. Bring a picnic basket. Bring your food. You get to see all kinds of fun people. And it's out under the stars. And I think the weather's going to be nice.
It always is. I mean, even if it's a 110-degree day, by the time the sun's gone down, you're going to be comfortable there.
Right. And this is one of the last things they're doing in the Redlands Summer Music Bowl Festival. They've had all kinds of things from ballet to opera. And upcoming, too, on August 15th, this might be kind of fun for you and me, being old-time radio buffs. It's the Wartime Radio Review. Wartime Radio Review. That's hard to say. Wartime Radio Review.
Tribute to the Andrews sisters.
It's done by a guy named Pete Jacobs. Yeah. And it's a tribute, as you said, to the Andrews sisters. Boogie Boogie, Woogie Boy, Company B.
Oh, yeah.
And it's in honor of the American Legion, the Sons of the American Legion, and all veterans who have proudly served our country. And it will be broadcast live all across America to all the ships at sea and to all those in uniform, as they said.
I went out, as I do periodically, to the Plains of Fame in Chino. They have a thing the first Tuesday of every month for any veteran of any combat. It's breakfast. It's not a lot. It's coffee and donuts, and everybody sits around and tells literally old war stories. But as you sit there and you hear a lot of this music, and I went up to him one day and I said, we've come to a stage in America where the Vietnam veterans are now hitting their 70s. Maybe besides the big band music, they ought to play a little Led Zeppelin or something in their PA system.
This is true, and it's what happens. But we could rearrange some things on Tuesday, maybe do that live, especially if the young gentlemen don't pay their bill that need to be paying it and renewing the contract on Tuesday. No mean to bring up business there, but
as long as you have.
But as long as I have the microphone here and able to threaten people and hammer them over the head, you know who you are. You better bring it.
Next week we name names.
Next week we name names, but we could actually do this. We could do it. Because they used to say that all across America, to all the ships at sea and to those in uniform stationed abroad. This is Wartime Radio. And it was actually a radio show that was like that. And to all the ships at sea. It was very, very interesting. The radio stations would say that even though they might not even go out to.
Because it sounded good.
Well, AM radio does the skip and jump at night.
Oh, yeah.
So, you could have a station in Chicago that might hop, skip, and jump, be able to be heard by someone at the
I've gotten
in the ocean.
Fan mail from Sweden on occasions.
Yeah. Well, we're almost done here with our show today, and, doggone it, we didn't get to LifeWave.
Oh, well.
I guess that's what happens when you don't show up.
Next week.
Maybe it'll be next week. I don't know what happened to the young lady who was going to come here and do that. It's about patches and putting on patches. And
she's standing right now all alone in an empty, cold carousel mall with nobody for 3 miles in any direction.
Well,
wondering where we went.
I tell you what, we'll give her another chance. She's going to be live at the Muffin Top Bakery in Redlands this Wednesday at 7 p.m. With a group of people. And she will be able to tell you all about LifeWave and the patches that they put on that help slow down aging, help weight loss, help relieve arthritis, and various other different things. It's called LifeWave, and you can see more information at lifewave.com, lifewave.com. Sorry that somehow or other there must be some cross signals or something happened. Yep. But you can even, through patches, sleep soundly. These patches work through light waves and stuff. And the skin is the biggest organ in the body. People don't realize that's your biggest organ.
It's an organ.
And hey, we can simply do a lot of curing through not having to ingest drugs or inject drugs or things like that. We can do it by doing it over the surface skin in our integumentary system.
Okay.
So how many more minutes do we have to waste here? We're done, huh? KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 and 102.3 FM. I'm Mark Westwood on the Mark. Thanks, Joe.
And I'm not.
Take it away, Brandon.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
Here it's withdrawing from state exchanges in Georgia and Nevada, citing uncertainty about the future of the law. On Wall Street, it was another record setter today, but a quiet trading session. The Dow and the S&P position buying the comic book publisher Miller World, best known for its Kingsman series. No terms of the deal revealed, but you can bet you'll see more Kingsman movies. Tom Busby, CNBC.
Attention small business owners, you know how hard it is to get funding to grow your business. Next Wave Funding is a direct funder that can help you get the cash you need when you need it, even if your credit is not that great. If you've been in business for over 1 year, have at least $12,000 in sales every month, Next Wave will purchase your future earnings and give you the money you need. It's as simple as that. This is by far the easiest and best funding for existing businesses. Call 800-430-4566. That's 800-430-4566.
A Wendy's Frosty is something special. And for a limited time, a Frosty is just 50 cents. An American classic for a classic price. It's not quite a milkshake, not quite an ice cream cone. It's definitely chocolate or vanilla. That choice is on you. Use a spoon or a French fry. Anything goes. A Frosty makes summer special. Yep, there's nothing quite like a Frosty. And there's nothing quite like this deal. A Frosty for 50 cents. Get yours before this deal melts away.
Small Frosty only at participating Wendy's for a limited time. Offer not valid in Alaska and Hawaii.
NBC News Radio, I'm Richard Jordan. North Korean media says the latest sanctions imposed by the United Nations are a frontal attack and a violation of sovereignty. The sanctions target North Korean finances and exports in retaliation for continued missile and weapons tests. The North isn't stopping there with tough talk. It is singling out the U.S. as the instigator behind the sanctions, with media reports saying there is no bigger mistake than the United States believing that its land is safe across the ocean. Vice President Mike Pence says forget any talk that he's running for president. Pence yesterday denied any notion that he's setting up presidential campaigns. Press Secretary Mark Lauder.
You have something that appears on the front page of the Sunday New York Times that's based on conjecture, speculation, that's suggesting something that is not true. It's important that the vice president speak his mind and clear the record on that.
The former Indiana governor issued a statement in which he refuted the article and called it fake news. An all-out manhunt is underway for the man who shot and killed a Missouri police officer during a traffic stop last night. The Missouri Highway Patrol says Officer Gary Michael died after a shootout with driver Ian McCarthy in Clinton, about 75 miles southeast of Kansas City. McCarthy drove away after the gun battle, crashed the vehicle, and ran off. Meanwhile, the hunt for an escaped Ohio inmate is ramping up in Toledo. Federal agents joined sheriff's deputies in the search for suspected rapist Brandon Lee Powell, who's been on the run since Friday. Taylor Swift will be center stage in an unusual venue for the pop star. Swift is expected to take the stand in a civil suit. Jury selection began today in the case of a former Denver radio host who claims Swift got him fired from his job after she falsely accused him of putting his hand up her skirt while the two posed for a photo together in 2013. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
This is Dick from Carpet Masters. Carpet Masters has been serving the Inland Empire for over 60 years. We are locally owned and operated by the Stevens family. We not only clean carpet and furniture, we clean many loose rugs, including Oriental rugs. Oriental rugs are cleaned in our modern facility where the fringes are cleaned by hand, then hung in our modern facility to dry. We do not use steam cleaning to clean your fine furniture. Furniture is cleaned by hand using the same absorption cleaning used in the White House. Some furniture we bring into our plant to clean properly. We normally use 2 men on each cleaning job using the extraction method. There is nothing that would clean carpet better for our customers. Our job is to clean properly with quality first. Google Carpet Masters San Bernardino and give us a call, or go to carpetmasterssocal.com.
The Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands is serving up some really cool ice cream this summer at La Micho Acana. Then get your chocolates and other delights from See's Candies. Moms and future moms who visit the mall can cool off and relax while they get treated like royalty at Shiny Nails or Francis Nails and then pampered at Texture Hair. The Tri-City Center is filled with retailers who care about you. Shop at the Tri-City Center in Redlands and see why they call it the mall with a heart.
Erin here from On the Brink Morning Show, where we talk about all that is engaging in the Inland Empire. News, politics, business, family, things to do, and so much more. Join us weekdays from 6 to 7 a.m. on KCAA 102.3 FM, 106.5 FM, and 1050 a.m. or on KCAAradio.com.
KCAA Loma Linda, your CNBC news station for the Inland Empire.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Greetings, my friends, patriots, lovers of democracy, truth, and justice, believers in peace, freedom, and the American way. Happy Monday. It's August 7th, and kind of a gray, rainy day here in Washington, D.C., although the rest of the week is going to be very nice, but it's cool and pleasant. I hope you're having a nice weather wherever you may be. I wanted to talk in our It's Anything Goes summer, and any topic that you think is worthy of discussion we can consider. But I have a stack here and things that I'd like to talk about, from fossil fuel subsidies to flame retardants to job numbers. In fact, let's start there. In fact, what I'd like to do for this first hour, and get your input on this as well, is define the American dream. What is the American dream? What does the American dream mean to you? Robert Shiller, the economist, wrote a piece for the New York Times from August 4th. What was it, last Thursday or Friday? And it's titled The Transformation of the American Dream. And he basically, Donald Trump made this back in January in a speech. He said, the American dream is back. What does he mean by that? There's no longer a black guy in the White House? Is that what he means? Actually, Shiller doesn't even ask that question. I ask it. Back in the 30s, Shiller points out, the American dream did not mean what Trump and Ben Carson, the head of of Housing and Urban Development, have alleged or have said that it means. Basically, Trump and Ben Carson have said that the American dream means that the average person can buy a home and start a business. You can be an entrepreneur. Well, very few of us actually want to be entrepreneurs or can successfully be entrepreneurs. Most people would just like a good job that pays well, that fulfills them, that gives them some sense of satisfaction in the workplace, some sense of control over their lives. But back in the 30s, and this is just fascinating. Back in the 1930s, according to Robert Shiller, the American dream meant freedom, mutual respect, and equality of opportunities. Which is kind of ironic, because in the 30s we were living in an apartheid society. So I guess at least for white people, that's what the American dream meant back in the 1930s. It had, Shiller writes, it had more to do with morality than material success. He says the definition of the American dream is important and consequential because it represents our core values. And then out of those values, once we've defined our core values, out of those values comes government decisions on housing, government decisions on regulation, government decisions on things like mortgage guarantees, and all these kinds of things. And if you define the American dream as, hey, I can get a bigger, better house, then your government policy would all be oriented toward helping people get houses, for example. As was the case during the George W. Bush administration. During the George W. Bush administration, he signed a piece of legislation in 2003 called the American Dream Down Payment Act. And what it did was it reduced the amount of down payment that you had to make on a house, making it easier for subprime borrowers or people who really are just kind of on the edge of, should you buy a house or not? Can you really afford to buy a house or not? Are you buying a house and if you get sick or you lose your job, you're going to lose it? I mean, all these kind of things. that made it easier for people to get into houses starting in 2003. And we saw where that led in 2008 when the housing market collapsed. The whole bubble fell in on top of itself. In fact, Forbes magazine got into the act. This year, they've got this thing that they call the American Dream Index, which is a measure of, basically, to quote Schiller again, material prosperity, bankruptcies, building permits, entrepreneurship, goods-producing employment, labor participation rate, layoffs, and unemployment claims. And Schiller notes, this is very different from the original spirit of the American dream. The original spirit of the American dream was laid out by a writer by the name of James Truslow Adams in 1931. He wrote a book called The Epic of America. I would argue that you could take the American dream back to Alexis de Tocqueville, 1838, as I recall, might have been 1836. He published a book called Democracy in America. He was a French aristocrat. He came over here, spent 6 months traveling around the East Coast, and got as far west as Tennessee, I believe, and came over basically to prove to himself that a country without a ruling class, a ruling elite, could not work. And instead, he came to the opposite conclusion. He was quite blown away by it. I read this book back in the late 1990s for the very first time. I was familiar with it from high school, but when I was writing What Would Jefferson Do, I read de Tocqueville's book, and in fact, actually a chapter from his book became a chapter, or was the basis of a chapter in my book, Unequal Protection. And de Tocqueville essentially talked about the American dream as one in which every American had a certain baseline of education, information, and political power. Now, again, he was talking about white people, but he was talking, he literally would walk up to farmers in their fields. This is what so blew Alexis de Tocqueville's mind. This is, again, keep in mind, in the 1830s. Thomas Jefferson had just died. Andrew Jackson, I'm guessing, probably was president. I'm not sure who exactly it would have been, but, it's, have to go back and look at the order of them. But that, it was that era. I mean, this was post-founding of the country, but pre-industrial revolution. It was just, the steam engine was just starting to catch hold, right? There was not a transcontinental railroad. That came with Abraham Lincoln in the Civil War in the 1860s. The Golden Spike was in 1867, as I recall, where the two railroads from the east to west coast met each other. So, but in this book, The Epic of America, James Truslow Adams said, the American dream is not a dream of motor cars and high wages, but a dream of a social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain to the fullest stature of which they are innately capable and recognized by others for what they are. In other words, opportunity to achieve, opportunity to be all you can, opportunity to be who you are. He says, by the 1950s, shortly after World War II and the triumph against fascism, the American dream was still about freedom and equality. So the American dream, basically from the founding of the Republic up until the 1950s, and in the 1960s, the American dream was deeply rooted in this idea of morality and virtue and value and opportunity. As its principal proponent at the time, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in his I Have a Dream speech in 1963. In fact, in that speech, he talked about a vision that, quote, was deeply rooted in the American dream, end quote. So right up until the 60s, the American dream was about a morality, essentially, and government policies that would promote that morality. In 1944, President Franklin Roosevelt said, he proposed his Economic Bill of Rights, the second Bill of Rights, and it had 6 items. Every American, and he wanted this in the Constitution as a right, which means that if the private economy, if capitalism fails to provide it, then the government does. So number 1, a job. So the government became the employer of last resort. And that's exactly what happened with the WPA, the CCC, and all these other, acronym agencies that FDR started. Number 2, an adequate wage and decent living. He did that with minimum wage laws and strength of unionization. Number 3, a decent home. Well, that was echoed by George W. Bush in 2003. Although, it became more aspirational. I would say that the major place where the American dream flipped was in the 80s, when Reagan essentially said that the American dream is not is not having a happy life, it's having a prosperous life. That money came to define everything, and we've basically been stuck there ever since. Okay, back to the second Bill of Rights, FDR's. Number 4, something that a right that every American should be entitled to. And it blows my mind that, reading Paul Krugman's column in today's New York Times, the Democratic Party is still arguing about this. In 1944, the most popular Democratic president in the history of the United States, who was elected to 4 terms as President of the United States, said the 4th right that we should all have is the right to medical care. Number 5, economic protection during sickness, accident, old age, or unemployment. In other words, a strong social safety net, unemployment insurance, Social Security. And number 6, a good education. Free schools, free colleges. Now, this was in 1944 that Franklin Roosevelt defined the American dream in these terms. So what does the American dream mean to you? What does it mean to all of us? I think one of the biggest differences between Democrats and Republicans is their view of the American dream. Increasingly, the Republican view of the American dream is empowered white people and lots of riches. Oh, and the oligarchs getting more and more and more, and the regulations going away so that the oligarchs get even richer.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Meanwhile, Democrats are trying to define the American dream in terms of egalitarianism and a return to the values of FDR. Where do you stand?
It's time to make the Tri-City Center in Redlands a regular part of your weekly shopping experience. Tri-City is home to a wide assortment of quality businesses. Soon, the Tri-City Center will become home to Ocean Aquatics. Ocean Aquatics will offer a wide variety of exotic tropical fish, along with food, accessories, and tanks of all shapes and sizes for every home or business. The Tri-City Center is located just off the I-10 between Alabama and the Tennessee exits in Redlands. Visit the Tri-City Center today and discover why it's called the Mall with a Heart.
My name's Doug Salamone, and I have a new show for you that will blow your mind. So what kind of show is it? It's a podcast, and it's called In the News. And you can find us at inthenewspodcast.com. We talk about what's new, what's crazy, what's out of this world, and we'll dissect those thoughts, ideas, and events right here on the show. And hear all the news you may have missed or really don't give a crap about, but want to hear anyways. So come on over and meet me at inthenewspodcast.com. That's inthenewspodcast.com.
Go on an adventure. Embark on a once-in-a-lifetime adventure at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Experience Africa, the tram, Cheetah Run, Lemur Walk, and the award-winning Tiger Trail, always included with admission. And make your day more wild with safari experiences like Flightline, Caravan, behind-the-scenes tours, and Roar and Snore sleepovers. Safaris depart daily at San Diego Zoo SafariPark.org, where every day is a safari.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bob Marshall, PhD, host of Healthline. Tune in to get your questions answered.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall. Promote exquisite immune and cardiovascular support with Quantum Nutrition Lab's Quantum Garlic Complex, featuring bear garlic and allicin. Buy 2 bottles and get the third one free. Call 800-370-3447 or visit online at qnlabs.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
But simple in its common sense logic, my book Threshold illustrates the mistakes we have made as a culture, as a country, and as individuals, and provides the inspiration and motivation that you're looking for to build a better, more sustainable world for all. It's available in fine bookstores everywhere. Threshold.
What can the wisdom of the 19th century provide for you? Turn back the clock with White House correspondent Ellen Ratner and renowned spiritualist Ann Gaiman to find out. In the new book, Self-Empowerment, 9 Things the 19th Century Can Teach Us About Living in the 21st, they shed light on history's greatest spiritual minds. Take a journey into history and healing with the masters of the 19th century as your guide. Self-Empowerment, 9 Things the 19th Century Can Teach Us About Living in the 21st, available through Changing Lives Press at selfempowermentbook.com.
Happy anniversary, honey.
Oh, you shouldn't have. Wait, is that a goat?
Goats are a great gift, but maybe not for her. Go to goatsfortheoldgoat.com to give a goat and end hunger in South Sudan. So, do you like it? Goatsfortheoldgoat.com.
In the war-torn areas of southern Sudan, one goat can make the difference between life and death. Visit goatsfortheoldgoat.org.
Hey, are you hiring? Do you know where to post your job to find the best candidates? Tom Hartman here for ZipRecruiter. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites with just one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your job better than anyone else. That's why ZipRecruiter is different. Unlike other job sites, ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. In fact, over 80% of jobs posted on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just 24 hours. No juggling emails or calls to your office. You simply screen, rate, and manage candidates all in one place with ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use dashboard. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by businesses of all sizes to find the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just because you listen to this program, just go to ZipRecruiter.com/Hartman. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Hartman. One more time, try it for free. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/Hartman. Welcome back. Tom Hartman here with you. We're talking about the American dream, and what does this mean, right? What does it mean to you? Omar called during the break, and he was talking about how he's an immigrant to the United States, and the American and many people outside the United States talk about the American dream as meaning one of two things principally. One, that you're not going to be selectively prosecuted because you've offended the government. And this isn't his example, this is mine, but for example, in China, and I'm not sure if this is still the case, this was very much the case a decade ago, it was illegal to move without the permission of the police. And yet, for mostly economic opportunity, but sometimes just even government would come in and build a new city and say to the farmers, you got to move. You know, some massive proportion of the population had moved, at least the urban population, had moved in the last couple of years without police permission, which left pretty much everybody in a situation where if they upset the authorities, they could be arrested for moving without police permission and end up in jail for a few years. And it goes kind of beyond that. I mean, here in the United States, and this is the personal hell that Donald Trump is going to be living through, you know, the old joke that a grand jury can indict a ham sandwich may well be true. And we're going to find out if Donald Trump is a ham sandwich. But the fact of the matter is, in the United States, if they decide they're going to take you out, it can happen. It's just not routine. It's not the norm. Where it's absolutely the norm in countries like Saudi Arabia, for example. You've got these young people. It's 14, I believe it is, young people who are all just sentenced to death by the Saudi government to beheading, because in 2011, when the Arab Spring was happening, there was a big demonstration in Saudi Arabia calling for democracy, and these people showed up at the demonstration, and they were Shia. They were Shiite Muslims, and Saudi Arabia, of course, is run by a Sunni dictatorship, a monarchy. So freedom from capricious prosecution is the American dream in the minds of some people. And then on the other hand, freedom to have opportunity based on merit rather than relationship. Another thing that Omar pointed out, that in other countries, you get a job with the government, you get a contract with the government because your brother-in-law is a member of the royal family, or because you're good friends with somebody who's you know, a high-up bureaucrat. In other words, it's all cronyism, right? It's all bakshish. So you've got that as the American dream. The other part is, having a good job. And by the way, apropos of that, there's a fascinating article over at the IWB website titled "Continue to Beware the Job Numbers." Is it the Bureau of Labor Statistics or Bureau of Line Statistics? And I realize, and this guy talks about this is his own economics blog, and why did he do it? But, Trump is trumpeting the fact that 209,000 jobs were gained in July. Did you know that in terms of full-time jobs, we actually lost 54,000 jobs in July? Which means that the balance was all part-time jobs. Part-time jobs saw a huge increase in July. Now, how many of those were full-time jobs becoming part-time jobs? How many of those? And those part-time jobs are mostly things like, in healthcare or in basically services industry, healthcare or restaurants or bartenders. And wages were up, but in those fields, the average pay is around $13 an hour, so people are making $13.50. Big whoop, right? So when you actually dig in, as they did over on the Zero Hedge site, if you actually dig into these numbers, you see that the average wage in the hospitality sector is $13.35. We're looking at 20,000 retail stores closing their doors in the first half of this year. That's pretty mind-boggling. Amazon.com, no doubt, played a major role in that, as does Walmart. It's going to be interesting to see if Amazon takes down Walmart. But what does that mean for the American dream? What does that mean for your idea of the American dream? What does that mean for how we should pursue public policy to give everybody access to the American dream? I think it's all found in FDR's second Bill of Rights. I'd love to hear you. I'll take your call.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-808-9925.
Well, Trump is off playing golf. I don't know. Maybe that's his idea of the American dream. Hey, I can play golf for 17 days. We're trying to figure it out.
NBC News Radio, I'm Richard Jordan. North Korean media says the latest sanctions imposed by the United Nations are a frontal attack and a violation of sovereignty. The sanctions target North Korean finances and exports in retaliation for continued missile and weapons tests. The North isn't stopping there with tough talk. It is singling out the U.S. as the instigator behind the sanctions, with media reports saying there is no bigger mistake than the United States believing that its land is safe across the ocean. Vice President Mike Pence says forget any talk that he's running for president. Pence yesterday denied any notion that he's setting up presidential campaigns. Press Secretary Mark Lauder.
You have something that appears on the front page of the Sunday New York Times that's based on conjecture, speculation, that's suggesting something that is not true. It's important that the vice president speak his mind and clear the record on that.
The former Indiana governor issued a statement in which he refuted the article and called it fake news. An all-out manhunt is underway for the man who shot and killed a Missouri police officer during a traffic stop last night. The Missouri Highway Patrol says Officer Gary Michael died after a shootout with driver Ian McCarthy in Clinton, about 75 miles southeast of Kansas City. McCarthy drove away after the gun battle, crashed the vehicle, and ran off. Meanwhile, the hunt for an escaped Ohio inmate is ramping up in Toledo. Federal agents joined sheriff's deputies in the search for suspected rapist Brandon Lee Powell, who's been on the run since Friday. Taylor Swift will be center stage in an unusual venue for the pop star. Swift is expected to take the stand in a civil suit. Jury selection began today in the case of a former Denver radio host who claims Swift got him fired from his job after she falsely accused him of putting his hand up her skirt while the two posed for a photo together in 2013. You're listening to the latest from NBC News Radio.
The other stations claim to be local.
Yeah, right.
KCAA Radio, the only true local radio station on your radio dial.
This is Pastor Greg from Chosen Generation Radio Show, heard right here on KCAA, 1 p.m. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Do any of these sound familiar? Not sleeping well, waking up tired, drinking more coffee than usual, can't stay focused, craving sugary drinks and snacks, feel like you're stuck on a treadmill, having trouble managing your weight, not sick but not firing on all cylinders? Any one of these could mean that you might have a system overload, and Thyrodrenal might just be right for you. Think about it. You've probably been feeling like this for a while. Life has a way of wearing you down, and if you aren't getting the right nutrients, then physical and emotional wear and tear will take its toll. Most of us at some time or another could use some nutritional support for our adrenal and thyroid glands to bring things back in balance. Our bodies respond well to optimal nutrition to keep daily energy levels up and stress levels down. Try Thyrodrenal from Michael's Naturopathic Programs, a nourishing support formula with vitamins, minerals, and herbs to put back what life takes out. Look for Michael's on the label. We're serious about good health. Thyrodrenal is available at leading health food stores nationwide. If you don't see it on the shelf, then ask for it by name. Thyrodrenal.
Colonel Sanders from KFC here to talk about the good old days. Well, the good old days are still here in chicken form, specifically in KFC's original recipe fried chicken with 11 herbs and spices. Our delicious chicken is still hand-breaded and pressure-fried just like it was then. Get your fill with 2 pieces of my original recipe in a $5 fill-up with mashed potatoes, a biscuit, a cookie, and a drink at a KFC near you. KFC, it's still finger-licking good. At participating KFCs, prices may vary, tax extra.
We alarm our houses, and we alarm our cars. But when it comes to your personal information, it can be tough to know when something isn't right. That's where Discover Card can help. Now, we'll send you an alert if we find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. And this service is free for card members. Just sign up online. It's our way of looking out for you, not just your account. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
$1.99, $1.99.
Penny here is trying to see how many ways she can say $1.99.
$199, 10 times 9 plus.
Thankfully, there's only one way to say delicious deal. And that's Long John Silver's one-piece fish and fries for only $1.99. Come to Long John Silver's today for our delicious 100% Alaskan whitefish. Hand-dipped, cooked to golden perfection, and served with natural cut fries, all for only a little help here, Penny?
$1.99. Wow, $1.99?
Yes, Penny, wow. Because at Long John Silver's, you deserve more.
We alarm our houses, and we alarm our cars. But when it comes to your personal information, it can be tough to know when something isn't right. That's where Discover Card can help. Now, we'll send you an alert if we find your Social Security number on any one of thousands of risky websites. And this service is free for card members. Just sign up online. It's our way of looking out for you, not just your account. Learn more at discover.com/free alerts. Limitations apply.
Hi, friends. Tom Hartman here to remind you that it's your support of our show that keeps us on the air. Without you, there wouldn't be a Tom Hartman program. And now more than ever, it's crucial for you to show your progressive support. And one of the best ways to show your support is to sign up for Tomcast. That's our podcast. It's at TomHartman.com. Never miss another heated debate on healthcare, global climate change, or our economy. Never miss another one again. Plus, labor news, full Monty alerts, conservative alerts, and my personal favorite segment, Geeky Science, each and every week. But wait, there's more! As an added bonus with your Tomcast podcast subscription, you'll also get my best of the rest of the news, a daily 3-minute dose of what's going on in the world today that you can't afford to miss. So what are you waiting for? Get over to TomHartman.com today and sign up for your Tomcast now. Do it for yourself, or you can do it for a friend. Go to TomHartman.com to see just how easy it is. And thank you so much for all of your support. You can support the Tom Hartman program and see video of our entire 3-hour show over at patreon.com/Tom Hartman. Welcome back. Tom Hartman here with you. Meanwhile, the NRA has a very different view of the American dream. Apparently, their idea of the American dream is sort of like Mussolini's, right? We are the clenched fist that will stop the leftists. These protesters, these hippies, these people of color, these malcontents, these people who are unhappy with the way things are going, we, the weapons manufacturers of America, are the clenched fist. This is, right-wing commentator Dana Loesch with a brand new ad for the
NRA. Here it is.
They use their media to assassinate real news. They use their schools to teach children that their president is another Hitler. They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again. And then they use their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest, make them scream racism and sexism and xenophobia and homophobia, to smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding, until the only option left is for the police to do their jobs and stop the madness. And when that happens, they'll use it as an excuse for their outrage. The only way we stop this, the only way we save our country and our freedom, is to fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
Right. Actually, if you have guns in your home, you're more likely to have accidental deaths in your home. You're more likely to have suicides in your home. Your kids are more likely to die. But, you know, this is the NRA shtick, that the American dream is the clenched fist of truth. And how dare those malcontents protest? That's not the American dream. Pretty amazing stuff. Sue in Morgan, Pennsylvania. Your thoughts on the American dream, Sue? Hey, Sue. You're on the air. No? Okay. You got to listen to your telephone, not your TV or your radio. Anthony in Jackson, Mississippi. Hey, Anthony. What your thoughts on the American dream?
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Anthony.
Okay, I'm glad that you got me on the line, and thank you so much for taking my call. Yes, I have a couple of points about the American dream. I want to start by stating that this is my perspective only. I understand that a lot of people have different perspectives. I'm 23. I was born in Louisiana, raised in Mississippi. So I have a very unique perspective as a young black man. And that perspective ultimately has led me to believe wholeheartedly that the American dream is basically propaganda for the most part. For a number of reasons. First of all, every conversation I've had with anybody or have heard discussed about the American dream has always had an era of meritocracy already embedded into the discussion that has never, ever been realized in this country. So that right off the back is a cue to me that it's probably propaganda for the most part. Mm-hmm. There's never been a meritocracy in this country for, of course, black people. We've always been at the lowest rank of this country. So there's obviously not any meritocracy to it. As far as the American dream being associated with the 60s civil rights movement, I would counter that kind of by saying that I think Dr. King more so was attempting to strangle the white establishment of that time into understanding their hypocrisy. I don't think there was any morality associated with the American dream.
Well, wouldn't it, Anthony? Might it not be accurate to say that essentially the message of Dr. King, obviously one of many, but you know, his social justice, his economic justice, his criminal justice reform calls, all were various ways of saying that people of color should have the same access to the, quote, American dream, end quote, that white people have had for a couple of centuries.
Well, see, that's the issue, Tom. The thing is, this is one country, so there is no American dream if there's not an American dream for everyone. So to say that there was an American dream for just white people, that's not the case, because there was no American dream. There was simply some sort of caste system, honestly, and it's probably still ongoing as far as the numbers go.
Oh, sure.
But back to my point about Dr. King in the 60s, quite frankly, I think it was more so him attempting to stranglehold the establishment at that time into understanding the hypocrisy that they stood deep in, right. Basically by putting a mirror up to them, because obviously there was no morals associated with the American dream, because if there were, there wouldn't be entrenched Jim Crow or segregation to the extent that there was. Right. But I think that's the only thing I think you may be missing about Dr. King movement, is that he didn't necessarily believe these things were actually the reality or were going to be the reality. He wanted them to be the reality. He didn't believe that they existed for anybody, because you can't have a meritocracy for some people and not, it's not a meritocracy.
Right. No, I understand that, but in terms of Dr. King, I mean, his statement was hang on just a second, I had it just a minute ago. He said that my vision is deeply rooted in the American dream. That was from his 1963 I Have a Dream speech.
Certainly.
So, does that change your perspective?
At that point, but I think it was more so, again, to exemplify to the establishment of that time the hypocrisy of them espousing these.
Oh, I agree. I think we may be saying the same thing, Anthony.
But they never really actually had it all. But
Yeah.
we certainly are in agreement on most of everything as far as that. Another point, just my last point, I know it's probably other people, is that as far as the American dream goes, as far as it being propaganda, another point to that being propaganda is that there is no real tangible, there's no tangible policy that pushes an American dream realistically forward in this country over history or over any short period of time, because it just doesn't exist. There's nothing codified in law that basically outlaws American dream type policy. The Constitution doesn't even do that.
So, therefore, what?
Therefore, it's just propaganda for the most part.
I see. So yeah, I think there's always been an element of sales pitch to it. In fact, Schiller in his article points out in the 1950s, American corporations started using the phrase "the American dream" to sell us everything from new homes to new cars to toasters and refrigerators. And basically, this was the beginning of the commodification of the American dream. So yeah, excellent points all, Anthony. Excellent points all. Thank you for calling and sharing them with us. Sue in Morgan, Pennsylvania. Hey, Sue, what's on your mind?
Hi, Tom. Thank you and your whole crew and your lovely wife. My definition of it is that we acknowledge what we've done to the Native tribes and that we acknowledge what we've done to the African Americans, and providing atonement and equality and political power for all of us collectively.
Well, and let's not forget Hispanics and Asians and LGBTQ people and women. I mean, basically, the American dream has been there for white men.
Exactly, and misogynists, and we need to actually do what our country could be great from doing, instead of pretending that lying and conniving and capitalism is so great.
Yeah, very well said. Donald Trump is not the American dream. Donald Trump is the American nightmare. Excellent, Sue. Thank you. Denise in Calumet, Michigan. Hey, Denise, your thoughts?
Well, as a small-town girl, when I was young, the American dream was the ability to live within your means.
Mm-hmm.
And people who could do that would be happy, not because they had a lot of money, but because they weren't afraid to lose their money. And what's happened is they've taken away the ability of any American, practically, that's not an oligarch or part of the rich Republican base, to not live in fear of losing their health care, their money, not being able to live within their means because they pretty much don't have their means anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm old enough to hopefully survive all this because I'm retired now, but I lived through the times when if you lived within your means, you could do well and still be happy, not because of money, because money doesn't make you happy, but stress without money, not having money brings you stress.
Right. No, I remember it too, and I absolutely agree. Denise, very well said. Thank you very much. Russell in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Hey, Russell, what's up?
Hey, Tom. I was watching Michael Moore's movie. Sorry about that.
Quite all right. I can hear you.
Yeah, I was watching Michael Moore's movie, Where Should We Invade Next? And I was struck by the difference between my life here in America and the lives of the people in Europe. I lived in Europe for 4 years when I was younger, and I felt the community, the hope, the love. That's different than here in America. America tends to be a little more grab what you can. And anyway, I thought it was the most interesting part of the whole thing was at the very end where he spoke about all of the different countries that he visited with, health care and leave and vacation and just all of it. They all said the basis for all of their the things they've done in this society were American ideals.
Mm-hmm.
We've lost
from the 40s. American ideals from the 1940s, as espoused by FDR and Harry Truman. That's basically what built Europe.
Exactly, and we need, it sounds trite to say, we need to get that back, but I mean, we need to get that back.
Yeah, I think we need to go back to core values, and I think that if the Democratic Party, I see this sniping war going on right now in the Democratic Party, Howard Dean and all this kind of stuff, and I'm like, come on, let's just go back to, forget about Bernie and Hillary and all that other kind of nonsense. Let's go back to core principles. FDR's second Bill of Rights. The Democratic Party could win massively on that.
You're listening to Thom Hartmann. Visit ThomHartmann.com for audio and video archives.
Because FDR's second Bill of Rights is the American dream. For every American this time, not just white men. We'll be back.
Hi, folks. Let's wind the clocks back 60 years. Food was different. Food provided health and nutrition, and using supplements was minimal. Unfortunately, now we have chemicals, GMOs, herbicides, and pesticides that can be quite lethal in the name of our food supply, and of course the ever-loving dollar. Supplementing our diets can be very important to stay healthy. Cleansing from daily intruders to the body might be critical. Live strong and take charge. Log on to getthetea.com. Our herbal tea is a great way to cleanse from intruders. Our supplements is a great way to maintain and improve your health. When your health is not up to par, go to getthetea.com. No GMOs, no fillers, and organic, and very helpful in keeping you at the top of your game. Life is too short to feel, you know what I mean. Stay in the game, at the top of your game with getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Again, getthetea.com.
If you're trying to prevent a home foreclosure, you need the Goodman Law Firm on your side. Goodman has a nationwide network of foreclosure attorneys to represent you during the mortgage mitigation process. The Goodman firm has resolved troubled mortgages across the nation. Take control of your mortgage situation today. Call the Goodman Law Firm, 888-800-6030, or contact them online at www.arnoldgoodmanlaw.com.
A superior nutritional supplement called Arbor Vitae has taken Australia by storm, and it's now available in the U.S. Arbor Vitae contains a unique combination of maritime pine bark, aloe vera, honey, and an enzyme from papaya seeds. This potent supplement was developed to impact inflammation in the human body. Arbor Vitae helps blood circulation and respiratory function. Its anti-inflammatory properties can also relieve minor muscle and joint pain. To order, log on to ARBORVITAEUS.com or phone 1-800-570-0433 and enter code KCAA at checkout to receive a 10% discount. Arbor Vitae is Mother Nature's helping hand. Order this unique supplement now. Call 1-800-570-0433 and mention that you heard it on KCAA to get a 10% discount.
So you missed the health care deadline and don't have any form of health care? Liberty Health Share has the answer. Liberty Health Share offers an affordable health care option that allows Americans to enroll any time of the year. Even if you've already enrolled but are not satisfied with your choice, you can switch to Liberty Health Share today. Liberty Health Share allows Americans to control, manage, and direct their health care by allowing them to choose any doctor or hospital across the country, yet still be in good standing with the Affordable Care Act. So members are exempt from the tax penalty and mandates imposed on those without health care insurance, giving you freedom from insurance. Memberships are for individuals, couples, and families, offering a variety of options to best suit an individual's medical needs. If you're a freedom-loving American looking for contract-free health care, then this is for you. For more information on how to enroll any time of the year, call 855-585-4237, 855-585-4237, or visit libertyhealthshare.org to request a free estimate. Not available in Pennsylvania.
When Wild Palm Springs is the one where you get big water park fun, barefootin', in the sun, barefootin', flow rider, barefootin'. Wet and Wild barefootin'.
Yeah, get unlimited barefootin' fun with a season pass. Buy now, get free parking, a free visit for a friend, huge in-park discounts. Hurry to get free parking and more. Buy online or at Food for Less for just $64.99 today.
Wet and Wild barefootin'.
Park now open.
Political and bombastic that I was expecting based upon what I saw in the trailer.
Yeah, it was almost